Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Greg Sloop, and it's time for Live at 5 on this Friday, May 31st, 2024. Hope you've had a stellar day and that everything you've prayed for has come to pass. We are continuing our study of prominent stories and passages in the Old Testament. We're up to Genesis chapter 30, beginning with verse 25. As a matter of fact, I think we're going to finish out chapter 30 today. It is the story of how Jacob's flocks increased. Now, all of this sounds just a little bit mystical. I'm not sure how to take it some days, and I'm just trying to be transparent there. But it begins in verse 25 of Genesis 30 saying, After Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, Send me on my way so that I can go back to my own homeland. Give me my wives and children for whom I have served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I've done for you. But Laban said to him, If I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you. Now that is the NIV. I forgot to change back because I normally do the New King James. Let's go back and read it in the New King James. Um, he said in verse 27, and Laban said to him, Please stay if I've found favor in your eyes, for I've learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me for your sake. Then he said, Name me your wages, and I will give it. So Jacob said to him, You know how I've served you and how your livestock has been with me. For what you had before I came was little, and it has increased to a great amount. The Lord has blessed you since my coming. And now, what shall I also provide for my own house? So he said, What shall I give you? And Jacob said, You shall not give me anything. If you will do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep your flocks. He didn't put a time frame on it, but nevertheless, I will continue to feed and keep your flocks. Let me pass through all your flock today, removing from there all the speckled and spotted sheep, and all the brown ones among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats. And these shall be my wages. So my righteousness will answer for me in time to come. When the subject of my wages comes before you, every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats and brown among the lambs will be considered stolen if it is with me. He's saying, I'm an honest man. I only want the spotted and speckled among the goats, the brown lambs, and the speckled and spotted sheep. He said, I don't want the pure white ones. I don't want the pure black ones. Just give me the ones that are a little different, maybe the things you wouldn't want. And Laban said, Oh, that it were according to your word. So he removed that day the male goats that were speckled and spotted, all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown ones among the lambs, and gave them into the hand of his sons. He cheated Jacob here, and took the ones that he said he would take as his payment, and he sent them off with his sons. Then he put 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob, and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. Well, now, I don't know how to explain the next part. I don't know how this works with the green poplar and the almond and the chestnut trees, rods, and how he peeled white strips in them and exposed the white which was in the rods. I don't know how all that works. I don't think it actually worked on its own. I'm hoping that he heard from God and he did what God told him. That's what I hope happened here. And the rods which he had peeled, he set before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink. so that they should conceive when they came to drink. So the flocks conceived before the rods, and the flocks brought forth streaked, speckled, and spotted. The exact things that he said he would take as his wages. Then Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks face toward the streaked and all the brown in the flock of Laban. But he put his own flocks by themselves and did not put them with Laban's flock. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock conceived, that Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the flocks were feeble, he did not put them in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. Thus the man became exceedingly prosperous and had large flocks, female and male servants, and camels and donkeys. So again, Jacob here is a I don't want to call him sly. That connotes something evil. He was a shrewd man. He knew how to work things out for his good. I don't necessarily think he was cheating here, but he was just trying to get been what he had agreed to. He was trying to get what he agreed to, and Laban tried to cheat him. This whole family's got issues. How in the world did God choose Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to be the patriarchs of the whole Israelite nation? Yet he did. We cannot question God. God chose men that he knew would do well for the children of Israel, even though they were imperfect, even though they were fearful, even though they were deceptive at times. He chose people that were imperfect, and he said, I want them to produce my chosen people. And that is exactly what they did. Here is Jacob with 11 children among Rachel and Leah and Zilpah and Bilhah. He's got one more on the way he doesn't even know about yet. That's the child that Rachel will bear him. She bore him one child, Joseph, and she would bear him another child on the way home. But in this moment, he's got 11 children. He's got great flocks because he did this thing with the rods. I don't know how to explain that, but he did this thing with the rods. Don't go, if you're a sheep herder or you've got cattle, don't put striped rods in front of your cattle or your sheep or anything else when they're mating. It's not going to necessarily do what it did for Jacob, but it worked for Jacob. Jacob trusted God, and if maybe God told him to do this, and if he did, then God honored his word, and Jacob got great flocks out of this deal. Anyway, the next day when we're back, Sunday afternoon, we'll talk about how Jacob parted company with Laban. We won't discuss that right now, but that is the next thing that's coming up. These stories are interesting, so interesting. Some of them make me scratch my head because I don't know how to explain them, but nevertheless, they are great stories and talk about the power of God and the favor of God. Even in the midst of man's foolishness, God is faithful. And that's the word for today. I hope you'll spend some time with God and the Word of God in prayer today and every day. It's the best thing you'll do all day, and you'll learn so much about God's plan and purpose for your life when you do. Good to see Cordia Tackett and Sharon Noblet. There are about 6 or 8 others on here right now. I know there'll be others watching tonight or tomorrow. Whenever you watch, we're thankful for you. We appreciate it so much, and we are honored to be able to bring this short Bible study each and every day, Sunday through Friday. Now, tomorrow is Saturday. We won't have a live at 5 tomorrow. Taking that Sabbath rest, if you will, from doing the broadcast on Saturday, but we will be back Sunday at 5. Hope you have an absolutely wonderful weekend. We will have church Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m., Sunday school at 9:30 a.m. If you are in the area, come by Kannapolis Church of God at 2211 West A Street in Kannapolis, North Carolina. If you cannot be with us in person, log on and watch us here online. God, it can move upon you whether you're in house or online. We love to have you in house, but if you can't, please watch us online and worship with us. It's going to be a great day in the Lord. Sunday morning at 10:30 worship time, and we are looking forward to what God will do. Please know we love you. We're praying for you, and I'll look forward to seeing each of you again Sunday at 10:30 a.m. live online and Sunday evening